how to get out of anxiety and what makes you anxious. Two big questions, isn't it? Is it easy to do so? Is it easy to get out of anxiety, to stop anxiety altogether? Zero anxiety? Yes, it is easy. It is easy. And what is it that makes you anxious? It is your thoughts. And the process of getting out of anxiety altogether has two steps. And the first step is actually understanding of what is happening to you, why it's happening, and how you can stop it totally, how you can get out of anxiety altogether. And the second step is just implementing it, putting this process in place on everyday basis, step by step, and it's actually very simple, it's very easy. But first, it really helps, and it sort of helps your process, it speeds it up, it gives you a belief that you can actually do it and be very successful with it once you understand what anxiety is, how it happens, why it happens, what makes you anxious, why you suffer from anxiety, because it is a suffering. And I just want to stress this thing again, and I want you to understand this thing really well. Your thoughts cause feelings inside your body. There is nothing without a thought. So you have a certain thought, whether you are aware of it or not, it doesn't really matter. You have a certain thought, and that thought causes you to feel certain things inside your body, causes you to feel in a certain way that then you sort of call certain emotions like worry, anxiety, fear, uncertainty, doubt, and so on and so on. These are all things that are connected with anxieties and being uncertain about yourself, about life, about things in general, being doubtful, especially about yourself. Will you be able to cope? What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? And so on and so on. This is all in the realm of thoughts. And how do thoughts happen? What is a thought? How are they happening? They're happening because we have a brain, we have a human brain that sort of churns out thoughts all the time, 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. Thoughts are coming and going all the time. We're aware of some of them, and most of them we're not aware of. But what are thoughts? Thoughts are a product of our brain that picks up everything around us, everything we hear, everything we see, everything we experience, and then everything that's happened in the past and everything that's happened in the past of mankind too, and so on. And it's a mixture of everything. And most of the thoughts are quite useless. More than 90% of thoughts are absolutely useless. They're just a certain personal interpretation of whatever is, not what is, but a certain interpretation of what is that is very often wrong. And all this mixture of thoughts causes us to feel inside our bodies in a certain way, and then we again react to that, and then we sort of develop more thoughts about what we feel inside our body, and then we get caught in this sort of a cycle that just goes on and on and on and on and on. It never stops, because you never know what sort of a thought is coming to you next, and then what that thought is going to cause inside your body, what sort of feelings, what sort of emotions. And then again, it's going to cause you to think certain things that you can't, cope with, and so on and so on. And there you are. So what you need to do is, obviously, you need to break out of this cycle. How to break out of this cycle? You cannot stop the thoughts. The thoughts are happening all the time because you have a brain, or you have a human brain. You can obviously get rid of the old brain, which is obviously not a solution, is it? But what you can do is you can dissociate with your thoughts. What I mean by that is, just bloody stop taking your thoughts seriously. Stop identifying with your thoughts, because you see, all this happens because we identify with our thoughts. We have millions of stupid thoughts every day, but then we hang on to one of these thoughts more than the others, and then we sort of, causes us to sort of feel some feelings inside the bodies and emotions, and then we have thoughts about that, and so on and so on. I'm not going to go into this again. We all understand it, is it? That's why we're struggling with a thing we call anxiety, because we cannot break out of this circle or cycle or whatever you call it, closed circle. We cannot break out, but we need to break out. The only possibility of getting out of it, getting away from it, getting out of anxiety, stopping anxiety, is get out of this circle. Break out of this circle of incessant thoughts all the time. Thoughts. Now, as I said before, you cannot stop them because it's a part of a human condition that the thoughts are happening all the time. But what you can do, you can bloody stop taking them so seriously. You can stop identifying with your thoughts. Your thought is just a thought. It's a product of your brain. All sorts of things come into it. Your thought is not you. Your thought is not the truth. Your thought is just a certain interpretation of whatever it is that is happening. So do not take them seriously. If something happens to you to feel certain feelings, unpleasant feelings inside your body, it is just a thought that caused that. It is just a thought. It is not you. You are not your thought. And that thought is just something, a certain interpretation that is hurting you. A certain interpretation that doesn't do you any good. It makes you feel doubtful. It makes you feel uncertain. It makes you feel all sorts of things that sort of have a negative impact on you and on your life. You know what I mean? So dissociate with your thoughts. A thought is just a thought, okay? And once you are able to dissociate with your thoughts, the thoughts will still be coming and going all the time. This is the nature of a human condition. This is the nature of your brain. And this is how life is. The thoughts are coming and going all the time. But you are here. You are here, okay? You're not up here. You're not your thoughts. You're this in here, this in here, this consciousness that is observing all these thoughts coming and going all the time. And these thoughts, some of them are pleasant, some of them are unpleasant. If they're unpleasant, they cause you to feel unpleasant things. If they're pleasant, they cause you to feel pleasant things and so on. But you're not the thoughts. Stop identifying with your thoughts. Whatever the thoughts are, they cause you certain, obviously, feelings and reactions inside your body. It is just because of what the thoughts are that are happening. You are not your thoughts. Stop identifying with your thoughts. Don't take your thoughts so seriously. You are this here. You are this consciousness here that's not changing, that is constantly the same, always the same. This energy that is in here that is always the same all the time. Unaffected by whatever thoughts are coming and going. You know what I mean? And once you realize that, and once you start a process and start learning how to actually dissociate yourself from your thoughts so that you can just observe what you are. The observer, you're this consciousness that is non-stop observing what is coming and going. But do not attach to it. Do not jump onto it. Do not identify with it because it is not you. You are the consciousness in here. And the thoughts are happening up here. These are two different things, okay? But because in this life, in this society of ours that is so geared into the brain, the mind, the thoughts. The mind is everything. The mind is the king and the queen and everything else. We came to identify with our thoughts so much that we just take them so seriously. Every single nonsense that comes through our head, we take it so seriously, and then it causes us to feel certain things inside our body, and when they are unpleasant, then they just run on autopilot again and again and again. Because if we jump on some particular thoughts more often, then our brain is going to run those thoughts on autopilot, even without us actually jumping onto them. They will just come again and again and again. And then we're going to connect with them again and again and again and cause these unpleasant feelings inside our body when the thoughts are unpleasant. You know, you need to make the distinction between you, the consciousness that you are, the energy that you are, that you existed before your brain developed, before your thoughts came to life, before everything else developed, before you as I, as this person that inside the body that you live in developed. This consciousness, this is who you really are. And this consciousness will go on even one day after your body stops functioning, after your body starts rotting or goes to dust or burns or whatever they're going to do with your body. You know what I mean? And this is always here. This is always the same. This is always here. It doesn't change. It doesn't get affected by whatever is happening in the realm of the thoughts. And once you realize that, once you're able to make a distinction between your thoughts and to show that your thoughts are running and your real self, your true self, the consciousness that you are, that is always unchanging and that is totally blissful and totally all-encompassing and totally peaceful, you will be a victim of your thoughts. You will be a victim of your brain. You will be a victim of your mind. But there is no need for that. It is just a misconception. It is a misunderstanding that we are our mind, that we are our thoughts. We are not. Absolutely not. We are this consciousness here. We are this observer here that can see everything going and passing and changing all the time. But this thing does not change. And will not change even after your body dies and rots, or diminishes and goes away and becomes feeble, and then your organs stop functioning. This thing will still be here. This is your certainty. This is your certainty. This is your bliss. This is your peace. You can reach it and you can connect with it anytime you want. And the more you practice this sort of a connection, the more you practice sitting inside here and experiencing the peace and the bliss and the beautiful, warm feelings that are real experience of what is. And you can make a distinction between what is up here and what is really here. And do not identify with your thoughts. Do not jump on the bandwagon of your thoughts. You will become much more certain about yourself. You will have much less doubts or no doubts at all about yourself, about the life, about the consciousness that you are, that existed before your body was born and came to life, and it will exist after your body perishes. I have a lot of videos on my channel that explain to you this process of connecting with your true self, dissociating with your thoughts. There are a lot of other videos from other people too that I leave some names under my videos, also some programs that can help you to start this process of dissociating from your thoughts and connecting with your true self and resting during the day, anytime during the day inside your true self in this total peace and bliss. That it is this one consciousness, direct experience of life without the interference of the brain. So, this is all from me for today. Think about it, think about this concept of your true self and your brain and your mind and your thoughts and where everything is, where your real position is, where your certainty lies, what is the thing that's never changing, that's always the same. That is your certainty. That is your true self. And I will talk to you soon.